We all have this spark that makes us wake up every day and do what we do. The things that I'm doing when it comes to impact female founder, raising strong community, having a fund that invests in diversity and female founder is a need, is not something that's nice to have. Hello, Mirna, how are you?
Hello, Mali. I'm very good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm super proud and happy to have you today on my talk show. And, you know, we're both in Berlin and it's actually a great day outside. And, you know, you're super unique. And I think at the first time when we met in Frankfurt, we immediately talked about so many things. You're doing so many things on the same time. And we have also a lot of in common. So maybe let's give the audience a bit of who is Mirna?
You want me to do this?
Absolutely.
Okay. So who am I? I am a woman. I'm 40 years old. I'm from Berlin. I was born in Berlin. I grew up in Berlin. For the last couple of years, I lived between Berlin and Tel Aviv, which I can't do right now because of the Corona situation. I studied communication and worked in communication for many, many years in startups and stuff like that. And then I decided to become a writer, and I studied philosophy and history, and then I became a journalist and a writer. I published my first novel in 2015, and I published my second novel this February, so 2 months ago. Currently, I am doing my my master's degree in philosophy. Yeah.
So who can describe Mirna better than you are? Because you're really doing so much and multitasking, and you have a beautiful mini me daughter that I met her and she is amazing. And you know, I thought about what we can talk about, and with you, it's kind of like pushing as a fire to me. To highlight the topic of, you know, being a mother in Germany. I can tell you that when I came to Berlin from Israel 7 years ago, I was always working, always raising companies, always traveled. It was something that it's part of the culture, and you know it because you're part of Israeli yourself. And I see so many women that are not there. They're still struggling, even like to choose between motherhood or family and career. And on the same time, I see you also as a role model because you're doing it with all the challenges around. You do what you really dream to do.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do.
Tell me why and how.
Well, why? Because I couldn't do anything else. This is what I want. This is how I want to live. I grew up in East Germany in a socialist state until I was 10 years old. So I grew up with working with a working mother, with the working grandmothers. For me, there was never the question of can I have a career as a woman, and can I have baby as a career woman? Like for me, it simply never, I never questioned this. It was clear from the beginning that that I can do whatever I want to do, and that's what I did. I just like went for all the things I wanted to achieve, and I will continue going for all the things I want to achieve. And I do think that especially in the west part of Germany, it has been a more like 50s life model, like from the 1950s until the wall breakdown. And it's still kind of what happened is that this model, this very conservative model of the woman staying home and the husband going to work is something that kind of infiltrated whole Germany, although in East Germany it was not like this at all. And now we have a generation, and I see this in young women around me. I have a generation of women who basically were raised by housewives and simply think that they can't do it. And it's problematic.
And this is, you're really jumping to the most important thing that I want to ask you regarding this topic. Why it's happening? I mean, how can we really change that?
I mean, I think you have like two kind of like directions women are heading. Either they want to achieve everything they are dreaming of, and they want to combine these dreams with their family life. And there are women who do this here, you know. It's not that there are no women who do this. It's just like a very small amount. The other direction women are going is simply the old conservative role model of the 50s. And I think the only chance to change that is, of course, by women showing that career and family life is not a contradiction. Like this question, even to discuss this question, I'm like basically most of the time when this question is being asked to me, I'm trying to refuse to answer it, because I simply like this question won't be asked a man, you know. What do you think? Can you handle your life as a CEO and your family, Holger? You know,
Exactly.
it's only a question women are being asked.
But this is what I wanted to highlight here, because, you know, you're born and raised here. And when people asking me how you do it, I say it's not even an issue, you know, because like
Yeah.
in Israel, no one asks us. You have to,
No.
you know, you grow up into it. It's part of being entrepreneurship. It's part to do everything, but together. But on the same time, when I came here to Germany, I saw something else. And it's not as a victim. It's kind of like a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
This is why, you know, and I totally agree with you. It's like two kind of like a mindset. I'm meeting brilliant, super talented female founder, women that working in corporate, super successful. At the same time, we see that the numbers are too small, you know?
Yes.
Yes. As a society, we need to really, you know, highlight these topics and show that this is capable and this is something that it's reality in other people's lives.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. But I think this can only, I mean, listen, there are like structural problems as well, especially when it comes to areas that are not main cities. You have no childcare. Childcare ends at noon, you know, so there are structural problems that need to be addressed and that need to be fixed in order for women to actually think that they can do it. But it will need it needs women who show it's possible. It needs probably one or two more generations. The problem is that I see it especially in very young women, like women who are like 23 and 24, who say like they have to decide. Either they can have a career or they can have children. They simply believe they can't have children and a career. And that's super sad. It's really sad. And I think it is as well has something to do with the kind of feminism that exists here in Germany. It's like a very special kind of feminism. And this feminism, is really frightening these young women of like doing their thing, you know.
I'm with you 100%, but I want to challenge you and ask you, you know, what you're doing and how you speak about that. You know, you're a person that, as I see it, love to be on the public eyes and want to be on the public eyes. But at the same time, we're talking very openly about being a woman, being a Jewish woman living in Berlin. And you also not shy or not run away of talking about the sex topic. So I want to ask you why and how all of this is really coming together.
Well, I do have this sex column at a German women's magazine, Cosmopolitan. I think Cosmopolitan exists in all over the world. I think in the States as well, so we have it here too. But not only do I write about sex and at Cosmopolitan, I write about sex. And I do write about money, by the way, as well. I write about sex and money and all those.
Which is the same, by the way.
Exactly. All these like things women are not allowed to have, or allowed to want.
Not allowed to want, exactly.
Not allowed to want until they're being said that they have to want it now. But I don't for me, I don't do this as a rebellious act. I do this because I like money and I like sex. So it's not something
That's the beauty.
So it comes pretty natural when I write about it. And I think this is what people like about my writing when I write about these topics, because it comes natural. It's not something that I want to be like the super, open-minded person or open-minded woman. I simply write about it by heart. And it's basically the same, that I for some reason, I never felt as a woman that I can't have anything. Like, I never had this feeling of I am not allowed to have this, or I can't have this, or I can't say this. And for many, many years in my life, I confronted people with this kind of attitude here in Germany, and they felt it's very odd. Like, why does this woman just fucking say what she has on her mind, And for me, it was always like, what is wrong about what I say? Like, I don't understand. Like, why can't I say this? Because I was not supposed to say this in their mindset, but I never had this mindset. Like, my mindset was always like, I am who I am and I say what I want to say. And I go for what I want to have. Without any kind of anxieties. Like, I never thought I can't have it all. And that's the attitude I basically carried kind of like all my life, and that's where it led me to.
And this is
an open world.
Out of here. Yeah. And this is a big message out of here. Imagine we hear more German women talking like this, Take the infrastructure, take the education, take everything we see here, that it's heaven in a many, sense. Definitely as entrepreneur, I'm telling you, I came here, I saw heaven, You cannot have this in America. You cannot have it in Israel. No. So imagine women really understand the potential they have here. This is a big message.
Yeah, they should. They should understand it. They really should understand it. But most of the time, they if I would say this, and I say these things publicly, I say them through my Instagram account. I have like over 20,000 followers there. And when I say this, I get so much backlash, like, you are forgetting that you're privileged. And I'm always like, I'm not privileged. I moved out of my parents' home when I was 17, and that was it. Like, I never saw, like, I worked my ass off being a waitress while I did my A-levels. Like, I just like did it, So
why you left so early? How can you explain that? I'm hearing this from many German ladies, by the way.
Because I simply wanted to leave home. Like, I didn't want to live there anymore. We're not having a psychoanalysis right now, but I simply didn't want to live there anymore.
But you saw the opportunity outside.
I didn't want to live there anymore, and I knew that I can make it on my own by working as a waitress and making enough money to afford an apartment. And I rented an apartment when I was 17 and worked as a waitress, So and and it was really good because I was like, of course it was like heavy, and it was like a heavy load I put there on these like shoulders of this teenager. I mean, I was a teenager, and nothing went like smooth. School was bad because how can you do school in a good way when you work three night shifts and stuff like that? But it made me a free person, and it made me a person who is entirely responsible for herself. And I took this and I liked this responsibility, and I just did it. Yeah.
Which is beautiful. I want to talk with you about topic that probably I cannot talk with almost anyone else, which is very unique because, when I came to live here, coming back following the roots of the family, I found out something new that I never thought about it in Israel, is that I have another responsibility. Oh, I'm also Jewish. It's kind of like another hat that I need to wear, which really, really hit me because you don't deal with it in Israel,
No.
definitely as a mother. And this is the topic that probably we can talk about and not with many people. And what do you feel about this? You're born and raised here, you see what's happening here. Or how do you feel about what's happening here?
Oh, I have so many feelings towards it, and those feelings change all the time. It's never steady, which is really interesting. If you would have asked me 6 or 7 years ago, I told you I can't live here anymore. I can't stand them. I can't stand this like anti-Semitism that is like deeply, deeply, deeply rooted in the German society, which they have not dealt with ever properly, which they are not aware of, what they think, what they feel about, what simply pops to their minds when they hear the word Jew. So all these like things I felt overwhelmed by and thought, no, I can't do this anymore. And then, I told you, then I lived in Israel, then I came back due to certain circumstances, especially due to my career. And now I created I kind of like created for myself a bubble in which I can live very freely and openly and without being too much in tension with this or in friction with this, with all these problems. But I write a lot about Jewishness in Germany and Jewish culture in Germany and what it means to be Jewish in Germany as a German Jew and all these things. And things are changing as well. We just had this like talk show last week, the first Jewish talk show on German television. But look, the producer who's Jewish from Frankfurt and the host who's Jewish as well, they had to create a talk show. So we will be able to finally speak on German television because no one invites Jews to speak on German television.
Can you tell our audience more about the talk show?
So it's a talk show that is called Friday Night Jews, and it's basically this really hot and funny host who invites one or two people to a Shabbat dinner, and we eat, and then we talk about what it means to be Jewish in Germany. And there's a lot to talk about because it's really odd and it's really weird. And I think no one in this world can understand what this means to live as a Jew in Germany and to be confronted constantly with all these like weird feelings Germans have around their own history and around Jewish life. And it's so pathological. Everything that happens is so pathological, and it's still there, And I think this is something you probably realized for the very first time when you entered
I
Germany
mean,
and dealt with German.
I see it from my friend, the German friend. Suddenly we sit together and talking about a third generation from this side and a third generation from the other side, but actually we have the same experience,
Yeah.
or the same feeling. So yes, of course, you're right. I learned a lot while living here. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a very particular special relationship Jews and German have, and that we can even talk about all of this, and that there are voices who can talk about it, has a lot to do with the fact that finally there is like a critical mass, like a Jewish critical mass again in Germany that has the ability to actually speak. Because look, when I grew up in the GDR, it was 5,000 Jews in the GDR. 5,000 Jews lived in the GDR. That's nothing. And in West Germany, after the wall came down, it was 25,000 Jews. Before the war, it was 500,000. So there were only, from 500,000 Jewish people in Germany, there were only 30,000 Jews left in Germany, and only due to the to many Jews from the former Soviet Union who came in the 90s, and it were like 100,000 people. They created, with of course American Jews and Israeli Jews coming over the last 30 years, basically created now a new Jewish community, which we didn't have before, and it's flourishing and it's good, but and it's important that there are new voices as well speaking up about their experience, and I think it's really important that it finally happens.
So I can tell you that my experience, definitely from the business sector, as an Israeli and German, it's the best combination to build company. We absolutely complete each other, Every side bring different culture, but also different mindset that able to build a great companies. This is where I'm coming from. This is why I see the bridge is so strong and important. But on the same time, I want to ask you, with saying this, and suddenly you mentioned a TV show for this, and people, it's important to see people that are also, by the way, Jewish. What is your vision for this? Take
For
Germany 10 years ahead. Yes.
for Jewish life in Germany, you mean?
Yes.
Oh, I so wish there would be a kind of normality like you have it you have it in the States,
Yeah.
that people see on a German Tatort, this like simply German movies, that there is a normal Jewish family celebrating Hanukkah, like the normality. I mean, we are right now in celebrating 1,700 years of Jewish life on German soil. But if you actually ask and talk to non-Jewish Germans, what do they know? Like, do they know what's a bar mitzvah? Do they know when on which day the Brit Milah is happening? Do they know what is the highest holiday? They can't answer a single question. They don't know nothing, and they know 6 million died. That's inside their brain, but they don't know anything about Jewish life. And by thinking about that, we have been living here for 1,700 years. It's crazy. This is crazy. Like, how is this even possible? And I hope that this year and everything that happens around this year will help to make this actually clear in their heads, that there is something not all right, that it's not normal that they don't know the high holidays, and it's not normal that they don't know nothing. And for my daughter, she will be a teenager in 10 years. I just hope that people will not exoticize her, like not make her this like Jew they want to touch because they have never met a Jew, like this animal in a zoo. And she has to like answer all these questions and become like a professional Jew educating non-Jewish people. This is what I hope for. This is why I doing their professional Jew clown in order for my children to not do it anymore.
That's amazing. And I'm so like you, but coming from the business angle, probably only because I feel more comfortable there. You know, it's sometimes served the purpose from a different angle. So, yeah. Mirna, what is coming up in your new book?
So my new novel is about transgenerational trauma. It's a pretty heavy novel. It's called Between You and I. The title refers to a book by Martin Buber, who was a Jewish philosopher. And so it basically deals with, it raises the question of encounter. How can we actually really encounter and recognize each other as a subject and not as an object? You all hear now and see now that I studied philosophy. So it's, it's deeply philosophical, this novel, but it's a novel. And this is what
took
this novel
you there?
is about.
I mean, why this topic, really?
I actually wanted to write about transgenerational trauma for a very long time. It took me nearly 10 years to write this book. I wrote my first novel in between, although I already worked on another book that is pretty similar to this book now, 10 years ago. I simply have a thing with history, like the past being connected to the present. It's my thing. Like I'm obsessed with this. I simply believe that the past is connected to the present, and the past is connected to the future, and the future is connected to the past, and all these things. So this is simply a topic I'm really interested in, and I wanted to fill it. I simply wanted to fill it with life through the protagonists.
Fantastic. Looking forward. So what can I wish you? What I wish us, you know, because I'm feeling very at home in Germany. I'm feeling like on a mission. Either it's because of the family background, or either because Germany is a phenomenal place to bring new things and disrupt things, because I see it also on the level of European Commission or European level, that Germany can do much more than it is right now, or it is today. Definitely when it comes to diversity, when it comes to female founder, when it comes to startup, when it comes to raising unicorns, and when it comes to Jewish life in Germany. That's for sure. And I'm really, really grateful for you to be open and really to make me able to bring this topic here on the talk show.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Fantastic. So I wish us amazing future, and still feeling that we are contributing here big time. And I'm looking forward to everything you're doing on TV, on your Instagram, and also for your next book. Keep raising this important topic, educational topic, sometime to your 20K followers, because I think you are on a mission, as same as I am.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, Mali. Hope to see you soon in real life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mirna.